Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? I want to get into the matchup specifically in a second that we're going to see on Sunday, but I'd love to know for you, man, as a guy who spent 10 years with the Carolina Panthers, what does the Saints game mean to the Panthers there internally in Charlotte?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, the rivalry, you look at the history of what a lot of games meant for, the Panthers when we played, the Saints, playoff, contention, just a lot of things on the line, especially during the certain times of the year where, a loss means the world for, the playoff potential. There's a lot of, definitely bad blood in the sense of, the shots that are taken on defense from either side, and just wanting to really put your best foot on the table and making a statement within the division. And this being the Panthers' first game going into the year for their division, it's an important one, especially coming off of 0-2 start. This is very important.
Yeah. So, look, the obvious question, Jonathan, is that everyone's going to ask, of course, is Baker, with the way that that everything went down in this offseason. It's been a little up or down, man. I mean, week one against Cleveland was certainly there for the taking, and then last week on the road against New York had to be disappointing. What's been your impression? Just I'll leave this is very obvious first. What's been your impression of Baker running that offense so far?
My impression of him is he's obviously he is an upgrade, I think, but more so from the standpoint of his leadership, his personality. You can tell he has the it factor to want to win games. You can see that he's willing to take chances. He's willing to, do things to go beyond, the things that are required to make a play. I think right now he's just getting adjusted. You have an offensive line that you haven't really been behind for some time, and you have receivers that you didn't really get too many reps with as far as, being the starting quarterback with the whole contention through training camp. So I think, this week is definitely going to be something for us to all look at. It's week 3, time's ticking, from a standpoint from the fans' perspective, and we want to see them feel comfortable in the pocket. And I think guys just need to take, more responsibility for their, what they're putting on tape and what they're putting on the field, and make it personal. Don't let your quarterback feel uncomfortable in the pocket. And I think the offensive coordinator just needs to do a good job of understanding what's going on in the game and understanding the flow for his quarterback.
Jonathan Stewart's with us, former Panthers running back, now part of Believe Network, covering the Carolina Panthers. I want to ask you about a position, of course, well. It's the running back spot. Christian McCaffrey's back, but in the last 2 seasons, a combined 10 games, 3 in 2020 and just 7 games a year ago. Give me your impression of a guy whenever you miss that much time, what it's like for Christian McCaffrey right now trying to get back into the swing of things.
I don't think there's a question that he's getting back into anything. I think he is who he's always been, if not better. I think his mental preparation, has probably exceeded everyone's expectations. I've missed plenty of games throughout my career, and your mindset only gets stronger because it has to be. When you're overcoming injuries, when you're overcoming adversity to get back on the field, you do come back stronger. And I think last week, given the fact that his number was called way more than it was the first week, we saw what he can do. We saw the long runs. We saw the catches out of the backfield and the ability to make guys miss in open field. And so I expect nothing, less. And at the end of the day, I won't be shocked ever because that's kind of who I expect him to be, is he's a once in a generational type of talent, and I think the world of this guy, and I think everyone does too, and I just think everyone just wants the best for him and for this team. So
that's great perspective. Of course, you had a stretch like that, a 2-year stretch in your career in 2012, 2013, where you missed a chunk of time and then came back very strong in 2014. A couple more minutes here with Jonathan Stewart previewing Saints, Panthers. I want to flip the field and talk a little bit about that Saints offense. And Jonathan, when you look at it, I mean, Jameis Winston has great arm talent, obviously. Alvin Kamara is likely going to be back. We know about all the receivers that they have with Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry. Now they draft Chris Olave. But it's been misfiring just a little bit. What about the Panthers' defense? If you would, how does the Panthers' defense, how are they equipped to maybe limit what the Saints are able to do offensively on Sunday?
I think Brian Burns is going to be effective in, the pass rush. We have to get after Jameis. If you get in the face and disturb him in the backfield as he's in his drop, I mean, for any quarterback, that's hard, right? So we got to make sure that there's a presence on the edge. And you see more and more throughout the league, the defensive line putting their hands up at the offense, at the line of scrimmage. That those things deter a quarterback from really making a split decision. You know what I'm saying? It makes them second guess whenever there's balls being batted down at the line of scrimmage. And you see that with Baker Mayfield. And whatever we can do to cause any disruption for Jameis Winston, I think that's key, obviously. But mainly, for me, just stop the running game. Because when things go bad, if you're stopping the running game, you can figure out a way to give your offense the ball more than likely. We've struggled in that department in the possession, time of possession, the last two weeks, and it's been mainly because other teams have been committing to the run and keeping the ball. And I think we got to make sure on defense we get those 3 and outs, and even some turnovers. We haven't had any turnovers. Last week we had an opportunity for an interception. I thought it would have been an easy interception by Luvu. That could have been, a turn of events, and we haven't had any of those that have gone our way. And I think some of those things need to happen for us, and defense creating those would be very helpful to give us more opportunities on offense.
All time this has been a pretty competitive series. The Saints lead it all time 29-26, so it's been a competitive series with these two teams, as you expect divisional games would be. The Saints have won 5 of the last 6, but Carolina did win up in Charlotte a year ago. Jonathan, if I asked you, for Carolina, what is the blueprint on Sunday? If they win the game against the Saints and get their first win of the season, you open up the box score on Monday or after the game, what's going to be the key? What's going to be the thing that stands out?
They just got to do the little things, right? Don't fumble the snap. Don't fumble the ball. Just block. Pick up the blitz. Execute. Know what you're doing before you're going and lining up at the line of scrimmage, and have confidence in that. So a lot of it, man, I would say just, hoping that our team is preparing the right way. Understanding situational football, understanding and believing and trusting in the game plan and sticking to it. Don't be hesitant when you're on defense when the ball's in the air. Trust your instincts, trust where you are on the field, and make the play.
You had 20 matchups against the Saints. Any stand out above the rest?
Man, to be honest, they're all a blur. Because it's like I can't really tell which year was what, but I know 14 when we went 7, 6, 9, and 1, and we came from Minnesota, losing to Minnesota in the cold, and we went to the Saints and we won that game, and that kind of stands out the most because that game was like the game that kind of put us on the winning streak going forward into the Super Bowl year. And so I would always say that one. And I broke a long 60-yard run or so in that game too. So it's always nice when you have a long run against a division rival. So.
It's a good memory, man. That was a 41-10 win by Carolina in the Dome that day. Not a great memory for Saints fans, but I can understand why it was for you.
Yeah.
He's
We
Jonathan.
thrashed you guys.
Hey, you're still looking for that Lombardi, though, bro.
Yeah,
Exactly. He's Jonathan Stewart. Follow him on Twitter, part of Believe Sports, covering the Panthers now. Hey, man, thanks for a couple of minutes. Hopefully we visit again down the line.
Oh, no problem, man. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.